Do you like Freddie Gibbs? That's a question that I get quite often. And it makes sense that I do because, I do this channel, I talk a lot about underground rap music, and I've reviewed one of his albums, and then I didn't review the next one, and sometimes when I talk about him, I kind of goof on him a little bit. So I get that question a fair amount, and I don't always know how to answer. I mean, do I like Freddie Gibbs? What I usually say is one of these. Yeah. Yeah. It's not like a yeah with an exclamation point, and it's certainly not a no, and it's definitely not a not really, but there's some kind of hesitancy. There's some kind of thing that I don't latch onto with his art, and so I want to explore that as I review his great new album, You Only Die Once. Because I think I do. I think I do like him more than I think, but there's something that holds me back from loving his music, loving his voice, and I want to explore that with you today as I talk about the album. Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor who in general is just a big fan of this whole school of underground indie crack rap, what I call artisanal crack rap. Maybe indie crack rap is a little bit more catchy, but artisanal makes more sense because it's always done with such skill. There's so many rappers in this lane. Boldy James, Rome Street, Stove God Cooks, all the Griselda guys. You could even probably say Makami, although I'd say he's moved a lot away from the crack aspect of artisanal crack rap. I would even say that the godfather of them all is Pusha T, who manages to be artisanal and kind of indie, despite the fact he's always on a major label. And it's a funny place to be because I'm not a fan of the war on drugs. I'm not a fan of the crack trade. I understand intellectually, not personally, because this is not an experience I had growing up, but I grew up during the crack epidemic. People who I know and care about, people who I read, people who talk to me from the black community tell me what a terrible, terrible, terrible thing it was, and economically and socially and culturally, it's so clear it was a borderline genocide that happened within the bounds of our own country. And then here I am listening to music about people saying how great it is. Okay, so there's that kind of ambiguity. But describing a problem is not the same thing as creating a problem, right? So that's how I think about it every time I listen to music about crack. I don't think of it as saying, gee, it's great selling crack. I think of it as an indictment of our entire society and the war on drugs. Okay? And, it's cops and robbers and criminals are cool and that kind of stuff that fits into a certain kind of entertainment. But, you can't just rap about crack, that's just kind of boring. And certainly Freddie Gibbs doesn't do that. You have to have more. In order to be this artisanal crack rap, you have to have more. You have to have like a talent with your voice. That might be one thing you could do to make yourself stand out. And certainly Freddie Gibbs is unbelievably talented with his voice. I mean, just like the voice, just the vocal cords, the way that he forms words, he is very recognizable. Like, from the first time I listened to him, I could recognize him every time I heard him somewhere else. And he's not somebody I listen to that often. So that's really spectacular. His ability to be rough and smooth at the same time is outstanding. Really. I mean, do you like Freddie Gibbs? Yeah. What's wrong with me? I mean, that's a really spectacular skill. And of course, you have to have talent with the pen. You have to be able to craft interesting rhymes. He does a great job of making very complicated rhymes sound very simple, which is a great skill. I mean, there's so many times on this album where I listen and I'm like, oh, whoops, that was rapidy rap. I wasn't paying attention, but that was rapidy rap the whole time, but he just does it kind of so smooth, And then what I really like is something extra. Not everyone has something extra. I mean, I've been speaking about how great Rome Streets is, and I'm not sure he has something extra. He's just such a good rapper with such a good voice and such good flow that I think he's one of the greatest rappers alive right now. And he doesn't have that sort of extra, maybe psychological or intellectual element, but Freddie Gibbs sort of does. I mean, this album has a lot of themes of regret, which I think is important. It has a fair amount of political consciousness, which I think is important. Mixing those things in together. So, do you like Freddie Gibbs? I mean, I feel like I should like him more than I do. Now, why don't I? Well, maybe it's because I'm silly. Maybe it's because I try to be Mr. Intellectual, Mr. Academic. I tried to stay away from commentary. I tried to stay away from beef, but it was hard. It was hard to miss that he was beefing with Benny the Butcher, and I don't know any of these human beings, okay? My barber has met a lot of the guys from the Buffalo rap scene. That's how connected I am to the scene, okay? So I don't know if any of these people are just the sweetest people you've ever met or jerks, you know? But the fact that I really like Benny the Butcher, another great artisanal crack rapper, and that I really like JPEG Mafia, and they both had these beefs with Freddie Gibbs, I don't know, like for whatever stupid reason, you know, things affect you. You know, I'm not saying it should affect me. I'm saying it did affect me. I don't know. I was trying to figure out. I was trying to remember all the beefs because I don't pay that much attention to them. So I looked it up on Reddit, and someone on Reddit named Prince Jellyfish put it this way: I love Freddie, love his music, buy all his records on day one, have merch with the rabbit on it. Great artist, one of the greatest rappers in the game, criminally underrated. But it's one of my heroes, Elmore Leonard, once wrote: if you run into an asshole in the morning, you ran into an asshole. If you run into assholes all day, you're the asshole. So I don't know. I thought that was very funny. I thought that was really well said. So, you know, maybe that's stuck. Listen, I don't care what people do in their private life. I don't like that we live in a world where private things become public. And I don't even think the things that Freddie Gibbs was made fun of are things you should be made fun of. Whatever you want to do in your own world is that. But the rumors and the allegations and the photos that went around, it just stuck with me. You know, it's like remember how Trump managed to get people to like not like a lot of the candidates in 2016 just by giving them stupid nicknames, because you can't see Marco Rubio without saying little Mark Rubio. You just can't. Like you just can't get that out of your head. Like he just was able to put that in your head. So every time I see his name, I think, oh, it's Frederick Gibbs. Like every single time. And that's goofy as hell, and that's not a good reason not to like him. Okay? But how about some more reasons to like him? He's from Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana is a place I've never been to, but is a place, can we say it's a place of legend? Gary, Indiana, place of legend. I mean, musically, it was the location. Sorry, I'm not gonna. You think I'm gonna go to one place? It was the music. It was the place of the Music Man. I hate musicals. Okay, I dislike most musicals. I highly disenjoy watching most musicals. But my daughter was in Music Man, and so I watched it. And there's a whole great song, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana. And so it gives you this whole image of kind of a pastoral American old-timey thing, when the reality is it's a real American city with the problems of a real American city. And of course the Jacksons come through here. I love there's a certain point on the song Wolverine where like you can tell you know, some rappers rap about Michael Jackson, a lot of rappers do, and he does as well, but he's like throwing out Jermaine and Tito. He's throwing out the rest of the Jackson 5, because obviously if you grow up in Gary, Indiana, it's like they all came from there. And even a longtime fan and considerable supporter of this channel and rapper and producer at large, O'Toole, comes from Gary, Indiana as well. So anything from Gary interests me. This album itself is... Sorry, we got some very intense birds out there. Maybe they're getting ready to fly south. Fly to Gary. You know, like the production on this album is so breezy. And I didn't, you know, the first couple times I listened to it, I didn't even really notice it. It was when I was going to take notes and really write, like, what is the production on this album? It's almost more like, kind of like a Larry June album. And I realized there's something about Freddie Gibbs that's very Larry June-ish, just his ability to be smooth. But there's a roughness to Gibbs that does not exist with June. I think that makes it more interesting. Most of it's produced by Lambo and Pops. There's sort of a large producer list, and none of the people are people I really knew. And then we had this whole the fact that there's no one else on this album, which is like, do you like Freddie Gibbs? I almost called him Larry Gibbs. do you like Freddie Gibbs? Well, I really should. I mean, doing an entire album with no guest features because you're just that ill, and never getting tired of his voice because he can switch up his flow, and he can switch up his voice, but he does it in such a way where you're not noticing. Do you like Freddie Gibbs? I think I do. I think the answer is becoming yes. Okay? Then the other thing about this album is this theme of the devil, where the devil pops up. I love that the devil is portrayed as kind of an idiot. You know, the devil doesn't know how to speak well. The devil's represented as just sort of like a ill-spoken guy from the streets, which I think is a funny idea. And it's part of what I like about this album and don't like. shout out to Wisecrack. It's sort of, is it deep or dumb? I mean, is it... It starts off with this whole premise, hey, this is about whether or not I'm going to sell my soul to the devil. But then, it's not like... They set up a big premise, but then they only kind of sprinkle the premise throughout. There's no real answer. It doesn't end up being a concept album. I mean, the album cover is him running away from demons and all that, and you sort of think it's going to be this thing, but then it's not. But hey... I thought the same thing about Chromacopia last week, so what do I know? In general, I'm going to bring back one of my favorite French expressions, which is, we say, have your cake and eat it too. The French expression is avoir le beurre et l'argent du beurre, to have your butter and the money for the butter. So it's like he wants to talk about money and women and drugs and crime. And then he still wants to have... How much is this? $8.14 to buy this great butter. Totally worth it. They don't sponsor me, but it's totally worth it. $8, though. That wasn't right. Damn, that's expensive. Dairy budget's insane in this house. But that's how I feel. I want that money back, and I want to eat the butter when I have some toast later. And that's kind of how it feels with this album, where... Like, the regret doesn't really come through. Like, it doesn't feel like there's regret. It's like, is he really shirking the devil? Is he really growing? Is he really moving? I don't know. Oh. Sorry. That's... My daughter is trying to close her She's trying to close her blinds on her window, and she has these lights that bang up against the window because it's daylight savings and it's too early. It's the first day of daylight savings, which for me, I'm psyched because that means I get to get up and make these videos, even though it's so cold. I can barely move my hands. Here, let me check on my toddler, see if she's awake on my baby monitor. Okay, I'm so cold I can barely press the hands. All right, she's moving around. Let's keep going, Skye. I do think it's interesting. There's a whole theme on here that maybe the devil might just be drug use, because there is this whole, multiple references to using cocaine, not just selling cocaine. Getting high off your own supply, and oh my god. Okay, that just means the battery's dying. I hate this thing. And I think that's interesting because maybe that's the devil that he feels that's really, really biting at him. Or maybe he does want to move on. I don't really know. Another sort of smaller theme is that he's not super into rap. I'm not sure if I'm going to be reviewing the new West Side Gun album, which I like it. Yeah, I like all of his stuff. I'm not sure I have that much to say. And he just raps so much about not caring about rap because all he cares about is wrestling. I don't mind people who tell me they don't care about what they're doing if they do it in kind of a cool way, but there's a certain amount where it just becomes all right, I get it. You don't care about art. You don't care about it. So there's a little bit of that on this album. Let's get to it. Let's get to the first track, Status. Very breezy beat, nice kind of operatic voice up top. I feel like that song Red Rum by 21 Savage has had a huge influence. I think it was produced by London on the Track. Has had a huge influence on modern rap music with the sort of ethereal, faraway singing, operatic singing, which of course existed before, but I think that popularized it. That's just a little pet theory. The lyrics are just leading everything. Just his voice seems slightly altered. Still packing on probation. Mother effa produce mandating. Want to vote, but I don't really effing on candidate. Little birdie flew up my hand today. Motorola going ham today. Talked about not voting. Hey everybody, I'm not sponsored, but please vote. Seriously, just vote. I understand. Everyone's flawed and all that stuff. But I am an intellectual, and I'm telling you, at this moment, 51% of the country wants to be fascist. And I don't mean Nazis. No, our country doesn't want to be Nazis. There's a lot of fascists who are not Nazis. We're talking Greece, Italy, Croatia, Serbia, Spain. They mentioned Spain. There have been so many countries over the past 100 years that have followed the tenets of fascism, okay? So I'm not calling everyone Nazis, but 51% of our country doesn't want to be Nazis, but 51% of our country is in favor of fascism, and so just vote against it. Could you do a favor for me? Okay? Don't even like this video, okay? Just vote. All right? Because, damn, man, I don't want to be super bummed out. I'm going to be bummed out. And I want to be happy for y'all. I love the way they use the 808 cowbell on this video. I mean, on this album, it's kind of like sort of like very sparing and kind of muted. Satan comes on. What's up, man? Like, you've been really strange from the program, my guy. I got you. I got you. I love that expression of "I got you," meaning like he has his back, but also he has him. It's nice. He doesn't abandon the concept, but maybe the concept is too subtle. Maybe I'm not giving it enough credit. Let's stay with that idea. Okay. Instead of saying he screwed up on the concept, let's say he made it really subtle, and by the end of the album, we'll kind of determine whether or not he nailed it. Then we get to Cosmo Freestyle. Dude, stop stressing me out. This album stresses me out. The sound of an alarm, can we not do that? Can we not put the sound of an alarm on an album? Anyways. Very cool, smooth sounds of piano, drums. This is where he talks about not having any guests because no one wants to mess with his 16s, with his 24s, with his 32s, with his 48s, with his 96s, with his 128s, with his 156s. But he has so many different flow switches on here that are so subtle. Hurting on the inside and this tough shit. Yeah, hurting on the inside and hide behind this tough shit and this misogyny. To a certain extent, but also cool. Like, this is accurate. This is a correct statement. He's still doing it. He's kind of lampshading. He's kind of having the butter and the money for the butter. But still, see the man in the mirror, ain't gonna lie to me. Jackson's everywhere. Whole lot of snakins. They surrounded me. And then later he slows it down and announces that he's slowing it down by saying, I had to fall back and let this shit breathe, which he does with his rap. Just love it. The devil comes on. You have to have some of this extravagance. So I said extravagance. You know, I meant You know what I mean. Who needs school when you got bitches? That's a great line. It's very funny. Very funny line. Next track is Wolverine. You don't think a rap song called Wolverine is going to have breezy beats, but they do. Very kind of nice head nodding style, more insane rhymes. Sometimes I do this thing where I just point out multisyllabic and mosaic rhymes. Mosaic rhymes is when one word rhymes with a set of words. So the best example is Biggie, escargot, that's one word, my cargo, that's 3 words. So this is just some multisyllabic mosaic rhymes he's got going here. Genovese, get a piece, murder scene, enemies, cheddar cheese, amphetamine, Philippines, guillotines. And then goes right into activist, capitalist after this. Awesome. But he's so smooth you don't even really notice it. Just a little dash of conscious rap in here. I guarantee it. But these Europeans, they still don't seem to treat us like human beings. It's great. It's true. Like a little bit. Should there be more? I'd probably like there to be a little bit more of this kind of self-reflection and criticism of structural racism, but that's just me. I'm a 47-year-old dude on this porch freezing his hands off, okay? And then he talks about about R. Kelly. And there's a whole theme here of sort of like canceled black celebrities, and let me tell you, I appreciate his points here. Because he is saying that white celebrities who get in this kind of trouble get to stay rich forever, and black celebrities end up in jail. Now, this isn't always true. A lot of black celebrities also get off and get to be rich forever. But proportionally not, comparatively not. There is structural racism seen in the way that we talk about disgraced black celebrities, which is why I tend not to talk about disgraced black celebrities, because I recognize that even though R. Kelly is a monster, for me to come on here and talk about him like he's a monster, there's other people who get on camera and talk about him as a monster, and they're happy. They're happy to do it because it proves their preconceived notions about inferiority of races, and that's not me at all. I think he's a broken and hurtful person. Not an animal. No human being's an animal. Not a single one. Not a single human being is an animal. We're all human beings. Go ahead, put in the comments that human beings are animals. You know what I mean, smartass. So I actually like this. I like this, that he's bringing up this dichotomy, because that's why you'll never hear me talk about Diddy unless you watch the Culture United live stream, in which I talk about not talking about Diddy. Brick Fees, I don't know. I sort of don't like this song, but then the more I listen to it, the more I do. I love the way he switches up the flow. Like, this is an example of a song where the first time I listened, I'm like, yeah, this is a skip. And then, like the third or fourth time I listened, I was really into it. Rabbit Island, kind of a better beat here. I love the way this bass rides up. Really good bass work on this album. Another hard verse where, again, he seems to be talking about using drugs. I think he has a cocaine problem. Chop some blow, F that hoe to Joe, I made a love scene. I love these bridge lines, slanging things, my shit banging like orangutans. I like all primates, including human beings. Human beings who are primates and animals. But when I say we're not animals, I mean our humanity is important, okay? As Oscar Wilde once said, nothing human is alien to me. Okay, that's a quote that my mother told me. I don't know if that's what he said. That's what my mother said, Oscar Wilde said, after the Columbine shootings. And I keep that in my head because after that happened, I said, can you believe these animals did this? And she said, nothing human is alien to me. And I was sitting there, and that changed the way that I think about humanity for my entire life. That's what a good sentence can do. Okay, so anyways. But we are all orangutans. Orangutans? Okay, I have a problem with orangutans. Spell your name right. There's a G at the end of orangutan, okay? Like the orange drink, okay, orangutans? Get your shit together. Your name used to be spelled with a G, and then all of a sudden, like 10 years ago, you take the G out of the name? Seriously, look it up. Look it up in a book. They changed the name from orangutan to orangutan. It's not cool. Not cool, orangutans. It's your anniversary. I like this beat. It's a little more developed. Some kind of West Coast keyboards, cool strings. I like the integration of a sample. like what is this title? Like, what is this title of this anniversary? Slamming every time I rap, it's like a crack attack. I live in Rochester, and there's just a terrible accent out here, so I just can't think about that. Every time I slam it, it's a rap like a crack attack. Put the slacks in the backpack. And it's actually pretty effortless rappity rap. It is. It's effortless rappity rap. This is what I'm talking about. Then nobody like you. Seriously, Freddie, get off my back. And now you're going to have an entire thing about having too many voicemail. Do you know I have so many voicemail on my work phone that I can't open up my work phone? I don't remember remember my password. So like, I'm going to check that thing, and there's going to be like a message from like 3 years ago being like, Skye, we need you in this meeting right now. Where are you? I'm just totally oblivious. So yeah, I don't need to hear a message with a whole bunch of X's being... I mean, how many... Oh my God. Can we do a supercut of rappers having actresses pretend to be their girlfriends, being like, I don't know why you F me so good, but I'm crazy about you. You have the best D in the whole world. I can't wait for you to F me. You treat me so bad, but I love the way you F me. I feel like we could do a supercut that's like 8 hours long. I don't need it anymore. But of course, it's integrated with stuff from the devil, and I like that. I like the idea of the devil leaving you voicemails. And then we get to Yeah, Yeah. A cover of She Loves You by the Beatles. Super kind of pop style, really smooth and gentle. I love this, the way that he uses the word yeah, yeah. And again, he's basically doing Busta Rhymes, Eminem style rappity rap stuff, but he's so smooth you barely notice it. And then he says, I barely be rapping, but ho, when I turn on the flow, I'm a mother effing poet. That's what it is. And again, I don't know. It's like he's talking about this private elevator, 30 girlfriends, I'm a player. You know, like is he bragging or is he expressing this weakness? I can't tell. Steel Doors is the next song. I like this beat a lot more. Again, that very subtle 808 work. He's all kind of paranoid, and the doors are like the doors on a trap. The trap is a revolving door. Steel doors, don't know what's on the other side. Trust me, Freddie. So what's it going to be? You know, about this life of crime, tugging him in. So this... Remember how I've been complaining, like, I'm not sure he executed the concept that well? Maybe he did, you know, because in this case, I think the trap is not a place, right? The trap is a state of mind. I think having 30 bitches is a trap. This life of drugs and excess is kind of a trap. And he doesn't have to actually be selling crack out of a trap house. And Gary, Indiana. He doesn't have to be. He can be like in there in his mind, you know, because the devil's got his soul. I got you. Do you like Freddie Gibbs? Walk It Off, chimes and gentle beat. He's basically singing, but manages not to sing. This is the most a rapper has ever sung without me going, rapper, stop singing. You know, it's great. You doing the devil's work, you know what I'm saying? They want us, you know, they want us to be against each other, you know what I'm saying? So it seems like it's a really conscious song talking about the way that, and a lot of this album is talking about the way that the man, the powers that be, the white supremacist superstructure that is laid over our wonderful country in a way that we are having trouble disentangling from, which is why you have to vote on Tuesday, because a vote for Trump is a vote for white supremacy. I know. I'm not saying Gaza's a great thing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if if you'd like to vote against white supremacy, you have a choice. Maybe you don't want to vote against white supremacy. I understand. It's not going to make white supremacy go away if you don't vote against Trump. It won't go away. Okay? But it'll get worse. So you could vote for it not to get worse. Okay? I know, I got a lot of young people, and I understand a lot of young people are mad, but man, this sucks. It sucks. Anyways, so it seems to be about that. But listen, I don't do like rap beef breakdowns. But I feel like this whole second verse is a shot at Peggy. Gunning for my spot, told that goofy knock it off, F around, maybe let me send it off. Seen him on that podcast popping off, shot him and is told that walk it off. I don't know what it is. Ruthless, is it satire? I don't know. Butter on the money for the butter. This is where he's talking about my neck game stupid, wrist game stupid. And you hear the whole song and you're just like, God damn it, do I have to hear another song about someone having a stupid neck and a stupid wrist? Because it's like, it is stupid. Like, I understand, you know, that if you come from nothing and then you have a lot, showing off your wealth is a way of showing your self-worth when you felt worthless, because in this capitalist hellscape in which we live, our value is tied intrinsically to our worth, you know. So I did not grow up in want. I do not feel the need to show money because I never had to worry on any kind of deep existential level about money in my next meal and if I was going to be okay, or if I was going to end up on the streets. So I understand. I'm not saying that people should not have jewelry or ostentatious shows of wealth, but it does get a little bit tiring, does get a little bit boring. People talk about the same things over and over and over and over and over again. And so then at the end, after a whole song of talking about my neck is stupid, my wrist is stupid, you have the devil show up and saying you need to remain stupid. That's the whole point. That's the whole effing thing. And stay and remain in here, because you got to go back to that shit. The shit is stupid. You stay over here with me, Freddie, with the stupid bitches, with the double-jointed neck. You love that stupid shit. You writing whole songs about this. Who gave you these stupid bitches? I did. Wrist game stupid, neck game stupid, stupid bitches. Love that stupid shit. Want to make negative connotations out of stupid shit. So, does he stick the concept? Maybe he does, actually. Maybe he does. Origami, another gentle beat, amazing opening lines, 750S, that's a McLaren. Of all the supercars, I sort of think McLarens are the coolest because I really like Formula One. 750S, Bruce Wayne, crazy batshit. I put all the jokers in the smoker. It's a rap bitch, you know, kind of like Batman lyrics and tears in my pillows. Broken soul, mastered turning pain into art. F that, mastered turning Cain into heart. Do you like Freddie Gibbs? I think I do. God, Lord, save my fingers. If you like this video, smash like button, subscribe. Do I can't even poorly sign the letters AVAA because my hands are so cold. But I think I do, because this whole idea of broken soul, pain into art, Cain into heart, that's a great idea. That's an interesting idea. How do you turn cocaine into heart? It's great. It's great. Then just another killer verse all about tried to hold me back, but I'm breaking through like a busted condom. 16th seed like sperm, like out of a broken condom. 16th seed, but also like in basketball, in the March Madness, that's the bottom ranked team. I'm breaking through like a buster bracket. So when you gamble on NCAA, when you gamble on March Madness, there's usually one team who no one expects to win, who breaks everyone's brackets, which is what they go. So we had the busted condom 16th seed busted bracket. So the condom's broken, the bracket's broken by this seed. All of it's all together. It's a fascinating, super well used, big money. You ain't wonder. You're Fred Savage. He's making reference to Wonder Years. I spent like 45 minutes trying to explain the importance of the TV show Wonder Years to my kids and my wife. They sort of got it. What would you do if I sang out of tune? Then we get to On the Set, which is like a pretty interesting thing because the beat really feels to me like a kind of soft late 90s awesome rap beat. Very Pac, very kind of Diddy. And he raps about Pac and Diddy. The bass line's working super hard. Goddamn, they done got Diddy. I used to look up to that, and even when that Pac dissed him, I wonder if he paid off Pac's killer. Pac. Tupac. I got the Rochester accent. Do you like Tupac? I wonder if he paid off Pac's killers. I wish the in LA ain't never popped Biggie. Wilshire Fairfax. When you die, they ain't got ish for your moms. They'd rather ice. They neck out. Rest in peace, Rich Homie Quan. You was too young to check out. Industry wasn't checking for Gary. I felt like I was left out. Now I spit these raps in my trailer. I got to report to the set now. So he's been talking about like moving on to becoming an actor, which is what he's trying to do. He's sort of discussing how he's moving away from rap while simultaneously talking about why he'd be moving away from rap, talking about the way in which they got Diddy. Now, I don't know. He seems pretty guilty to me, and I'll never forgive him for what he did to the message. Or Shine. Goddamn, Bad Boy Records was so good. That's the problem. Like, Black Rob's album was so good. I like the Shine album. I own the Shine album. I bought it on CD. I know he sounded just like Biggie, but he was good. Anyways, there's a lot of things to be mad at Diddy about, and innocent until proven guilty. He will always be guilty of that Kashmir beat. But anyways, still, it's an interesting idea because there's a combination of rappers who have been killed, like Tupac and Biggie, rappers who died, like Rich Homie Quan, rappers who get caught up for, making deals with Satan, like Diddy, and it seems like he's trying to figure out his way out. And maybe, do you like Freddie Gibbs? Yes, I do. Because now I get it, seriously, truthfully, I get it. At 7:24 a.m. on Sunday morning, November, was it 3rd? I finally get this album. That he's been dropping little hints about, like, leaving this life of sin. And here he is on this last track where I'm stupid, okay? I'm a simple man. I like narrative. So I wanted a final confrontation with the devil where he either wins or loses. And that's what this is. It's a final confrontation. It's him moving on. It's him discussing what happens to rappers, what happens to people who can't control their urges, what happens to people who lose their life to addiction, what happens to people who are still wrapped up in this game. And then he's on the set. He's acting. He's trying to get out. He's trying to beat the devil. So, yeah, I like Freddie Gibbs. I do. This album's what convinced me. I do really like Freddie Gibbs. I'll check out Bandana and all the other ones you guys have been asking me to review forever or listen to forever. I just didn't know, I just didn't know. He didn't immediately get me. And that's what's great about art. You kind of stick with it. These are my Patreons. They give me money to buy music. Oh, also, not for nothing, but I think you could put this last track on the set in conversation with the song On Phonem by Lupe Fiasco. They're both last tracks on albums dedicated to the ways in which rappers die too much. They're not exactly the same. Anyways, I don't know. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can barely even let me see here. Is she awake? Oh yeah, she's moving. We got dogs. We got sunrise. All right. There's the camera.